Swin Cash, I call her Swin Cash. Swin Cash, I call her Swin Cash, I call her Swin Cash. Swin Cash.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Swin Cash. Yo, I love that intro. Swin Cash. They call her Swin Cash. Shout out to the guys back home in my hometown of McKeesport, both Gab and Tristan for that. Love that intro. Love it, love it, love it. Well, y'all, I'm excited you're back for another week to join me for our second episode of She's Got Time. Now, check it out. So, first thing we're going to do is do a quick rewind of the week that was. All right. And so a few things happened in my life that I like to share and just make sure we're connecting so you understand that, look, we're all out there grinding, team we grinding, hashtag, you'll see me everywhere on social media. But so this past week, obviously we had a holiday weekend. I was excited, got in the kitchen a little bit. For some of you ladies or gentlemen that were cooking, I don't know about y'all, but baby, listen, the next day when I got up to go to work, my calves were on fire. Now you're talking about somebody that's a former athlete. Well, I still feel like my body's athletic, right? Well, my calves were on fire. I just didn't stand for that long or period of time in a while. But it was well worth it. I had an opportunity with my family and friends to come over and just be able to break bread and be thankful for not only one another, but just life and the blessings that we have. So that was a wonderful time. And then the weekend came, had a little bit of work, got an opportunity to check out some basketball, both college basketball, NBA, covering both of those. And then mommy duty happened. My son got sick. He was a little bit under the weather, but everything turned out okay. Moms, dads, we put on our capes, we figure it out, and you keep it moving. But you also may have seen that I was in a campaign that released this past week called I'd Rather Get Paid. Let me say that again. I'd rather get paid. I know all of you out there understand exactly what that means. And I thought that I was going to piggyback on that and talk a little bit more about it today because, we don't like to just talk. We also like to bring facts. My mom used to always say when I was younger, she thought I was going to be a lawyer or something like that because everything I wanted to debate and talk about and go in depth a little bit more and get my point across. So I think that this past week has been really interesting, not only with the campaign coming out, I'd Rather Get Paid, but also I'm sure a lot of you saw on social media the panel discussion that was done with Gabrielle Union, Ellen Pompeo, I think Emma Roberts, and of course, Gina Rodriguez, who I will deal with later in the show for sure. But they had a great panel discussion as well, just on the topic of this whole pay gap that's happening in our society right now, not only in Hollywood and dealing with the film industry, but listen, it's happening for everyday women. So let me just bring up a little bit of facts for y'all, right? So I got this off of the U.S. Census Bureau, and the report is called Simply the Truth About Gender Pay Gap, right? And this came out fall 2018. It states that women are paid 20% less than men. Now, Black women and Latino women are paid respectively 38 to 46% less than white men. Y'all hear what I'm saying out there? Literally, these are the numbers, the facts that have come out. And let me just go even a little bit deeper for you. Also, in another report that came out, the Institute for Women's Policy Research, it calculated that if we continue at this rate in this pay gap that's happening, not only will women continue to lose $513 billion in lost wages each year compared to men, it also will take literally up until 2059 to reach any type of pay parity. Now listen, I know there are some people out there, I've seen them on social media, that like to say, man, this whole pay gap doesn't happen. There's more women in the workplace. There's more women that are graduating college. Yes, you're right about one thing. There are more women than men that are graduating college and also that are going on to extend their careers and get their masters, etc. But they aren't being compensated in the workplace. Now, I'm giving y'all facts. This isn't just me pulling numbers out somewhere. This is the reality of it. that women are getting paid 20% less than men right now, and then minority women even less than that compared to our white male counterparts. The problem with all of this is that women are literally half our workforce. So you're basically telling me that half our workforce, we aren't paying them a fair wage. I have a problem with that. Not only because I'm a woman, also because I'm a mother. Now, I'm a mother of a son, but that makes no difference whether I had a daughter or a son. I just look at it from a different perspective. Is once you have a child, you think about like this world, and you're trying to make this world better. Well, there are people, decision makers, that are in positions that think and value women less than men. And if this isn't something that we start to address in the workplace, if we don't start to address some of these issues, younger level, having these discussions, even at the collegiate level, having more of these open conversations about what pay, wage, a living wage, all those things, equality are, then we're going to be in a situation where even come 2059, we're still not going to be where we need to be to have that level of parity. So why is it something to talk about, to bring up, and so forth? Well, there's a lot of reasons, okay? We can talk about it. One, because, listen, we want that money. Pay us what we're owed. But at the same time, it's because we're setting up this structure in our country that will continue to not only devalue women in one aspect of work, but then you look at all the other areas where we'll start to continue to devalue women. We've had these conversations numerous times about how the perception of women, but women of color as well, of how we view them, how the imagery is out there, how we depict them in film, how we are writing about them in stories. All those things come into play. You can't look at it from a tiny microscope and say, okay, this is a small issue over here, maybe we can fix it. We have to fix the minds, and we have to fix also the rooms that these decisions are happening in, of why women aren't getting paid. Now, I brought up earlier the panel of Gabrielle Union, Ellen Pompeo, Gina Rodriguez, and also Emma Roberts. And you're probably wondering why I brought that panel discussion up. I did think that what was said by Ellen Pompeo, what was said by Gabrielle Union, was very true and authentic to what's happening in the times right now. I thought Gabrielle Union's comments talking about how women have to make sure that not only do we have solidarity with each other, but making sure that you're checking for your homegirl. Like, everybody in the industry knows, whether you're at work or whether you're in Hollywood, you know who are the few women that are, whether they're in your field, whether they're coming up behind you, whether they're colleagues, it doesn't matter. You know who's in line for promotion. You know who's already gotten a promotion. Ladies, we have to do a better job of communicating with one another. That's the biggest thing. Everybody, especially if you look around and you're in the room and you're a minority and you are the only one, there's this certain fear at times, especially with women, minority women as well, because a lot of times we are maybe the only one or two that's in the room, have this fear about sharing information. I am big on communication and sharing information because that is the only way that we are going to close this gap in regards to pay equity and making sure that we're sharing information so that if I'm not able to take a role or take a job, that my sister that's coming after me or who's there maybe looking to take that same role won't settle for less, because the more we settle, the more they win. And that's the biggest thing for me, is that communication, being open to sharing the information, and then also being ready to receive it. Some people like to run around and think that they make it on their own. Well, you don't, okay? There's always somebody that's there to help you get to that next level, or somebody there to push you, to motivate you. You're never getting stuff done by yourself. And that's why I love having a sisterhood, and I love this panel because they were talking about real life issues, topics, things that go on. Gabrielle Union gave a fabulous example about not taking a role, and then somebody else after her not taking a role, because they knew it was coming down the line of who the production company or the studio was going to call next. And the more that women do that, the easier it becomes for everyone else. Ellen Pompeo talked about being an ally and talked about diversity on the set with the crew, the people that she's working with. That is just as important. And I thought it was very important because as a white woman, she was saying, listen, we have been part of the problem. We have to be part of the solution. The first thing comes with accountability. Are you being accountable for the role that you play right now? I have friends of mine that I talk to that are white women who have said, you know what, it's difficult because there's this almost kind of not fear, but they say that you feel somewhat bad because you want to be an ally. You're standing up and you feel like you have a progressive mind and you're trying to support other women, especially minority women, because you understand that the deck is stacked against them. But I always tell them, do not be upset about your privilege. Do something about it to help other people. And people don't look at you. I don't look at my white girlfriends and say, oh, you're privileged. You can't understand my plight. What I say is, you can be an ally in this fight, and here's how you can do it. So we're both educating each other, because I give people the benefit of the doubt. I try to all the time to give people the benefit of the doubt until they truly show me who they are. But I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And what Ellen Pompeo was doing in this panel discussion, in which she said was so authentic and true, and you have to go, we're not going to play it here, but you have to go and check this out, is she said, sitting in the room, they were doing this panel about like diversity, inclusion, pay equity. And she said, listen, I look around the room and I don't even see diversity here. And that was like, whoa. I know the people that put that whole thing together, they couldn't have been too happy about that comment, but I thought it was so bossy. I thought it was real bossy because she said something that people probably was thinking. She said something that I know Gabrielle Union probably was thinking, but it's better to come from her in that situation because people receive it differently. Man, y'all don't even hear me. Let me say that again. Sometimes a word or a statement or a comment is better to come from someone that's an ally than the person that's sitting there in the foxhole that's been fighting and grinding and fighting and grinding, because people sometimes receive it differently. Can I get an amen? Can I get some claps for that? Some finger snaps? Yes. But that's real, y'all. That's real. And they were being authentic and they were being true. And then I went to social media. Reagan Gomez is somebody that I follow, and if you guys don't follow her, you definitely should. She just was talking about the comment that Gabrielle Union made about one woman in Hollywood not taking a role, and then calling her, and then she didn't take the role, and then the next person. And Reagan made this profound statement through Twitter that from her perspective, a lot of times it's easier when A-list stars are doing that, or the executives and different people are doing that. But what about that person that's just trying to get on? What about that person that has to feed their family or has to take a role or take a job and take less money because there's no other options? There are times when that is going to happen, and we understand that. But that's why it's so important for people at the top to continue to try to push the envelope and move things forward so that women won't have to continue to do things like that. Because that's the reality. And they'll tell you all the time, oh, if you don't take this job, it's all right. Somebody else is going to come take it. So then in your mind, you start thinking, man, should I pass up this opportunity? Listen, I say to you like this. What is your worth? What is your value? And where are you at right now in your life? See, because a young Swin at 23 just trying to get into the industry and cover sports for a huge, network, I'm able to sacrifice and say, you know what? Okay, I'll take less. I feel like I'm worth this, but hey, you want me to prove myself? Absolutely. A more mature Swin now, 20 years in the game, you're going to have to pay me my worth. And if I do some research and I find out that other people are getting paid X, Y, and Z, and I'm not getting paid my worth, then now I got to make a decision. And I think we have to be kind to people, understanding that there are some people in situations that may be willing to take that least amount in order to help them and their families. But at the same time, people that have platforms, people that have audiences, people that are sitting in positions to make decisions, it is your responsibility to start changing this pay gap that's happening. 20% less women are making than men. Black women, Latino women, Asian women making less than that than white men. That's an issue. That's a problem. And we have an opportunity to speak on it, to talk about it, and say, listen, I'd rather get paid. That's where we're at right now. There's a whole movement that's happened. We've had 100 women elected to Congress. Give up the snaps. Yes, 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 yes. 100 women elected to Congress. I'm excited about that. And I'm not just only excited talking about, hey, all Democratic women. I'm excited because we have to have more diversity, more inclusion, and more people that are not only at the table, that's around the table, that's making the decision, that are on some of these committees, that are making life better for all Americans, and especially the ones who've been oppressed for so long. That is very important, because you got to keep this in mind. As women, we have one plight that is being oppressed in different ways as a woman. You add minority on top of that, that's 2 strikes. You add poverty or the economics on top of that, and that's a fight and a grind that some women are in every single day. And what I want to say to each and every woman that's out there is get up, look in the mirror every single day, and not only say, what do I have to do to go out there and get it for myself and for my family and to be a better person, but how can I make it easier for the woman that's coming after me, or the woman to the left and to the right of me? Sometimes we're so busy thinking about ourselves that we're not thinking about the whole. Now, that was me addressing the panel, because there was some great information, some great insight from that panel. Like I said, if you get a chance, I'm not promoting, I have nothing to do with that organization who put the panel together, but I just thought that it was very informative, and I thought there was a lot of great comments on social media. And that takes me to our girl, Gina Rodriguez. Come on down to the front of the altar, baby. Come on down to the front of the altar. Oh, sis, we got to have a conversation. Now, some of you may be asking, who is Gina Rodriguez? Well, one, you can Google it. For a lot of fans that are out there, you understand she plays a lead in Jane the Virgin. She was on this panel as the Latino woman that was sitting there with Gabrielle Union and Ellen Pompeo and Emma Roberts. And she made a comment about how white women are getting paid more than black women are getting paid more than Asian women are getting paid more than Latino women, etc., etc., etc. Now, when you make bold statements like that, like I said earlier, sometimes I don't necessarily think immediately everyone's racist or everyone's a bigot or everyone is anti-black. I don't think like that. I try to listen to people and realize that sometimes people are miseducated. Sometimes people have an ignorance, or sometimes people were just raised a certain way. And so it's our job to want to inform and have a certain dialogue. That's the only way that we change this thing, y'all. But Miss Gina, there have been a number of times that I have seen her make a comment that is hurtful, because as someone that identifies themselves as Afro-Latina, you are constantly, it seems that from the comments that I've seen, the video that I've seen from her, she wants to be an advocate for Latino women. Absolutely, why not? I feel like I want to be an advocate for Black women, because look, I am Black. And there's a plight that I have that some people won't understand. But there are young girls that are looking up to me, and I feel like it is my duty to use my platform. There's nothing wrong with that. My problem with Gina Rodriguez is that, one, if you're going to come to the table and you're going to come to a panel, you need to do your research and have some facts with you. Two, if you're constantly trying to compare Latino women to Black women, that ain't the answer. Because there's a certain oppression that has come for Black women for years and generations and generation after generation. For also Latino women. Because guess what, sis? We're all in the minority. It reeks almost of this colorism that sometimes happens in minority communities where it's the dark-skinned women versus the light-skinned women. And I hate all of it. I hate all of it. And I'm not a person that says I hate things, but I just don't like it. Because see, if you go to the stats, if you Google a little bit, you would see that Sofia Vergara is the highest paid woman in television. Sophia, shout out to you, baby girl. She's making $42.5 million a year. Yo, I love it. I'm not even hating on it. The top 10, Kerry Washington's number 8 on that list. Only Black woman. See, my issue is this. We have to spend less time with this whole concept of Latino women still are getting less than Black women. Understand, as all minorities, we have to be better. All right? You should be excited that Black women are getting more opportunities to not only produce or to be executives or to be able to be on the business side of NBA teams or to run businesses. This is something you should be excited about because the more doors that are open for minorities, the more opportunities that are created. I don't know what was going on in Sis's mind, but whoever her friends are, the people that are around her, this isn't the first time. The first time usually you say, you know what? Somebody says, all right, I made a mistake. I didn't see it that way, and those weren't the words I wanted to use. Absolutely. You just chalk it up to, all right, she's very talented actress, young, talented actress. But there's a responsibility there that she has to not make comments that make you seem anti-Black woman. And if y'all been looking on social media, they've been dragging her up and down, pulling out receipts after receipt. I actually didn't I saw an interview where a gentleman was interviewing her and Yara Shahidi, and she interrupted after the gentleman said that Yara was a role model for young Black women. And she said, no, for all women. Now, I took that as you know what? Maybe she's saying she's for me too and for all Latino women. But in that moment, he was expressing to her of how her unapologetic Blackness is inspiring other young women. She decided to interrupt that interview. It kind of threw me off a little bit, but at the same time, I took a step back and said, listen, sometimes people articulate things and you give them the benefit of the doubt because that's not necessarily what they meant or how it came across. And you listen, you hear them out. She went out and talked about, hey, I've learned from this, and, you know, I'm careful in this space because it's such a intersection of like race and wage equality, all these different things. And sometimes she understands that maybe I kind of speak out of turn. Well, this comment right here, you definitely spoke out of turn. Now, you all know on this podcast, She's Got Time, we have our segment that talks about who has to take a seat, take a bow, or level up and straighten their crown. For me this week, take a seat has to go to Gina Rodriguez. We are not happy about your comments. And we, as the congregation of Black women across America, need you to get it together. So Gina Rodriguez, you get our take a seat for this week. Now, our take a bow has to go to Ellen Pompeo Gabrielle Union, and all the other women out there who are allies and unapologetically standing up for all women, no matter if they're Black, white, Asian, Latino. You want to see everybody win. And it's no us against them. Take a bow. And who needs to level up and straighten their crown is Yara Shahidi. Because I just love this young woman. She is beautiful inside and out. I love the fact of her relationship with her mother. And I just want to encourage you to continue to do the things that you're doing, because my young niece and other young girls out there are looking up to you. And I'm so proud of all the work that you're doing, not only with your different TV shows, but all the philanthropic things that you do as well. So level up and straighten that crown. All right, y'all. So I know on this podcast episode, we talked about how we have to do better, especially with this wage gap. Women to men, 20%. We have to do something about that. And the way that we change that is by communicating and making sure we're sharing information. Solidarity is big, and also having allies within that fight is so important. How can you be an ally? By understanding your privilege and your platform and how to use it. That is so important. Second thing is, we talked on this show about how as women, we have to make sure that we are not tearing other women down or other minorities down, but also encouraging them and being happy and saying bravo if other women get opportunities, because you know that's going to open up a door for your sister that's to the left, to the right of you, or behind you. Too often, and we've seen, trust me, we've seen where women will say, hey, I'm an ally, or hey, I believe in you. But as soon as you turn your back, they're not there for you. We have to have more positive representation that's out there of all women, but also of minority women, and having that diversity and that inclusion will go a long way in making sure our young girls see themselves differently than we did growing up. Now I want to leave you with this positive note. If respect is no longer being served, you need to leave the table. And this was one of my positive notes from Twitter off of XO Nicole that I was able to pick up. Let me say that again. If respect is no longer being served, you need to leave the table. So it comes down to this, people. As women, as men, we have to understand our worth. And if you're given respect, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in a relationship, whether that's with family, consistently, if that's who you are, and the people that are around you no longer respect you, they no longer give you a certain level of regard, then you have to understand when it's time to get up and ask for that check and exit stage left. One of my favorite pictures is of President Obama when he's walking through the halls, I believe in Congress, and he gives the fist bump to the janitor. That's what it's truly about, is understanding, having respect for all people, all creeds, all backgrounds. As women, as mothers, as daughters, as wives, we have to be the ones that lead. And we can do that, but it starts with respect. God bless, and I'll see y'all next time on She's Got Time. Swin Cash.
Swin Cash, I call her Swin Cash.
Y'all have a good week.
Swin Cash, I call her Swin Cash. Swin Cash, I call her Swin.
And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at She's Got Time. Also, send us an email, swingottime@gmail.com. I need to see y'all comments down in the comment section. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. You gotta subscribe. And at the end of the day, you're killing me, Smalls. Come on, Gina Rodriguez. She's got time.